The following is a production of TeamBoydTV.com. The Black and Blue Podcast.
We're rolling hard and we're headed to the house just to get a taste of the Carolina pride. We're rolling. I-95, 77 South. We're rolling hard and we're headed to the house just to get a taste of the Carolina pride. We're rolling.
What's going on, everybody? What is going on? I want to give a big salute to Panther Nation. How you guys feeling? Hey, y'all know what time it is. Today is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Black and Blue Podcast, presented by domain.com. I be your boy, Big Q, TeamBoydTV. Hey, listen, this is episode number 14. You know what I mean? Had a lot of fun last week, man. Got a chance to reunite for a really, really short time with my boys from TeamBoydTV Live. I'm going to give a big shout out to my boy, Glass and Get With It Sports, and my brother, JB. Listen, for everybody who've been kind of waiting, just like I know for me, I'm super excited about this, and and the fellas, they are too. We only got about three and a half, 4 weeks, something like that, left for the big season 2 premiere, TeamBoydTV Live, and I can't wait, man, because we're in a part of the offseason that starts to really get on my nerves a little bit, because everything is done. We got all the free agency stuff has been settled for the most part. I want to say it's about 98% done. There's still a couple of things that could possibly happen. We at the draft situated. A lot of the rookies done signed their contracts and stuff, including the whole entire draft class for the St. Louis Rams, which I think is awesome. The Carolina Panthers actually signed a bunch of their boys too. And speaking of which, I had the awesome opportunity to meet Mr. Kelvin Benjamin for the first time just a couple of days ago, man. It was cool. I put the pictures up on Twitter at TeamBoydTV, on the Google Plus page. I put it everywhere, man. It was awesome. And dude was cool, man. Got a chance to talk to him for a brief second. I think we talked for maybe about 10 minutes or so. And we talked about a bunch of stuff. And, dude as cool as can be. I consider myself a pretty big dude. This dude made me look normal. He made me look average. You know what I mean? He made me look average. But, I'm excited for him. He's excited. He said he's been having a lot of fun in the city. He loves it here. Thinks that, Charlotte is a cool place. So I told him to say, hey, be happy, because you more than likely you're going to be here for a while, and that kind of thing. In other news, though, not a whole lot happening, but I will tell you guys this. TeamBoydTV apparel is here. You know what I mean? TeamBoydTV apparel is finally here. I know I've been talking about these t-shirts and stuff for a hot minute. Finally got the shop situated on the best on TeamBoydTV.com. So you can go to TeamBoydTV.com/shop and see all the cool new TeamBoydTV shirts. We have TeamBoydTV, TeamBoydTV Game Time, TeamBoydTV Live, TeamBoydTV Pink. We got all kind of stuff, man. I got some shirts for the ladies and whatnot. It's cool, man. And I was on there, yesterday, showing, Vernie, all the cool stuff that was up there. And yeah, man, we said that we was ordering our shirts and stuff. So it's cool. And it's going to be all right to be able to share those shirts with you guys. We're going to plan on giving a bunch of them away, this season coming up. And for everybody else, man, you can go over to TeamBoydTV.com, /shop. And you can check them out and you can order them, man. It's awesome. That's an awesome way that you guys can keep on supporting the TeamBoydTV project. And, so far, you guys have been doing a fantastic job. The people who have been subscribing to TeamBoydTV Turbo on YouTube, I appreciate it. I appreciate it like nobody's business. All the guys who check me out on the Black and Blue Podcast via Spreaker, via Stitcher, via iTunes, via Facebook, wherever you guys listen to the Black and Blue Podcast, that I definitely appreciate it. Everybody who follow me on Twitter, man, at TeamBoydTV, I can't thank you guys enough. This has been awesome. And then, of course, everybody who's going over to TeamBoydTV.com and pounding on that donate button, man, look. I know I said this plenty of times, man. I definitely appreciate it, because all I really want to do is do this. You know what I mean? Like, every free second that I have, I'm trying to dedicate it to TeamBoydTV and trying to make TeamBoydTV as awesome as I possibly can. And, it's kind of tough doing it on your own. But, with you guys' support, though, lately, y'all guys been showing me a spectacular amount of support. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it and that kind of thing. The people who've been sending me the emails to Black and Blue Podcast at TeamBoydTV.com. Listen, I have not forgot about you guys. You know how much I love y'all's emails, man. I will read a few of those on the podcast here pretty soon. But lately I've been having a bunch of guests on the show and stuff. And this week is no different. We got one of my favorite, all time. Well, I ain't gonna say all time. He's one of my guys. You know what I'm saying? He's one of my guys. I just met him a little while ago. But he's a diehard Panther guy. And, I got PantherNasty up on the podcast today. And, we are going to chop up all things Carolina Panthers football. We definitely going to dive into this Carolina Panthers defense, which we know we haven't really talked a whole lot about on the Black and Blue podcast, but we're going to talk about it today. And so, I was so glad to have PantherNasty drop by and join me on the Black and Blue podcast and that kind of thing. So, what do I have in the news? Is there a couple things that, like I said, this is the part of the offseason that kind of irritates me a little bit. This is the part of the offseason where people just start talking randomly and just trying to make up stories to put online and on TV, and it's irritating. I saw this article on NFL.com, and it kind of made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. You know what I mean? So it was written by Gil Brandt of NFL.com, and it's part of his little column called the Brandt Report. And it's titled Panthers, Chiefs, Seahawks among teams set to take a step back. Now, I don't really care what they're doing in Kansas City, and I really, really don't really give anything about what they're doing in Seattle. But let me show you what they said about Carolina. And the cool thing is that the Carolina's little part was shorter than everybody else's. This is what Gil Brandt says. He says, no team has repeated as champion in the NFC South since the division's inception in 2002. So even if there weren't a handful of other reasons to worry about the Panthers, history will suggest that someone will take their place atop the standings. Cam Newton had a spectacular 2013, but ankle surgery has put a damper on his offseason, keeping him, for the most part, out of early workouts where he would have had a chance to begin gelling with what is almost a completely new receiving core following the departures of Steve Smith, Brandon LaFell, and Tay Ginn. Furthermore, the left tackle position is up in the air. In the wake of veteran Jordan Gross's retirement, Carolina's defense, which ranked second overall last season, still looks as if it would be potent behind a solid front seven, though there were concerns with this unit as well. Cornerback Captain Munnerlyn and safety Mike Mitchell, who really brought a lot of toughness in 2013, are gone, while defensive end Greg Hardy's off-field issues might be cause for concern. Ultimately, I think Carolina will miss the playoffs. Now, let's talk about this for a minute, Panther Nation. I want to know how y'all feel, man. Y'all hit the comment section up. Y'all hit me up and let me know. Even tweet me. Tell me about how y'all feel about it. Because, and it's a good thing. Because, that's why I got my boy PantherNasty on here. Because we're going to talk about this very exact same thing. And, I am so, so sick of this whole Carolina Panthers wide receiving core and Steve Smith and Brandon LaFell and Tay. I'm so sick of talking about it. You have no idea. I'm so it's getting to a point where it's just like it makes my head hurt so bad. That's all people ever talk about when they talk about the Carolina Panthers. And this whole Greg Hardy's off the field issues. What this one little situation that he had with his little girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, it's an issue now. I don't understand how it was an issue. It's handled. It's done. Everything is taken care of. It ain't like the guy's going to jail and nothing like that. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Y'all need to quit writing stuff like this. This kind of stuff kind of, makes me a little irritated. It kind of irritates me a little bit. You know what I mean? Now, they did go on and they talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. They talked about the Cincinnati Bengals. They talked about the San Diego Chargers. Talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. They talked about the Seattle and the Seattle Seahawks. So they talked about a bunch of other people too, but I don't care about them. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care. Now, on the other hand, though, And this is one of the reasons why I feel like this part of the offseason really irritates me, because I read that article and I got a little upset. Then I go over to Bleacher Report. So I'm on BleacherReport.com and I see stuff like this and I'm like, okay, well, see, this is nice. I like this, right? So this is a article on Bleacher Report. Talking about, despite tumultuous offseason, Cam Newton poised for MVP caliber season. Now, see, I see stuff and I'm like, okay, this is nice. It said the Panthers were hoping rest would heal Newton's left ankle, an injury that not only had nagged the quarterback all the way back to his college days, but was exacerbated by a Week 16 flare-up against the New Orleans Saints. Rest wasn't enough, though, and Newton underwent surgery on March 19th to tighten up some ligaments in that ankle. While it would have been optimal for Newton to have the procedure well before March, his 4-month timetable for return still promises a return prior to the regular season. Newton hasn't begun working with the Panthers without restrictions, but he has already been throwing the football and seems ahead of schedule. And see, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And then they go on to say, well, I think he's a tremendous athlete. He just continues to get better and better. When you look at what he did last year and the strides that he's made, he's going to make another big jump this year. Just as a quarterback having been out there, the things that you see from your first to second to third year are always big jumps, and he's going to continue to get better. He's got all the ability to be a great one. And I definitely agree with that. All this talk, everybody is condemning the Carolina Panthers, man, and it's crazy to me about all the stuff that I read and see all over the internet. I think Carolina's going to surprise a lot of people. I really do. Here's a quote right here from Ron Rivera. He said, "It's a personnel group I believe in. It poses a lot of problems for defensive fronts. With an extra tight end in the game, you can do so many different things depending on who the tight end is. You can line him up as a fullback, as another wide receiver, or as a wing tight end. It's going to give us a lot more versatility than what we do." And as I'm saying, so when PantherNasty joins the podcast, I'm telling you, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to get right into it. And as far as news is concerned, we did something came out today, actually. The Panthers signed offensive lineman Nate Chandler to a 3-year extension, which is cool, considering he only had 8 starts in 2013. But, it's good to see that we are, getting that offensive line situated and all that cool stuff. And, you got to take the good with the bad, you know what I mean? Or the bad with the good, however you want to look at it, because people are going to write crazy stuff about Carolina taking a step back because of all the crazy stuff that's supposedly happening all season. And then you got people who say, hey, listen, I see what they're doing in Carolina. I see exactly what's going on here. It looked like they are trying to, make a push. And I'm telling you, despite what a lot of people say, I will say it right here on the Black and Blue podcast. I believe the Carolina Panthers team is better this year than it was last year. So if everybody thought Carolina gave people headaches last season, you'll have no idea what was in store for y'all. Hey, listen, I have an awesome show lined up this afternoon for you guys. In a minute, I will be welcoming my boy PantherNasty to the broadcast. And with that, we're going to get right into our first break, and we will get right into the interview.
What up, peeps? When you're done listening to our partners at TeamBoydTV and you want to hear more sports talk that is no holds barred, just like at your favorite barbershop, come on over to Get With It Sports, a place where you get your sports with a little swag. Check out our videos on YouTube at Get With It Sports 2, that's the number 2, and watch Glass and Brandon as they give you their best in the NFL, NBA, and MLB sports talk. Also, check out our blog page at getwithitsports.wordpress.com. Thanks, and see you there.
Check this out, fellas. If you're looking to build your online presence to gain a larger audience, there's only so much that social media can do for you. Although social media is a powerful way to build a following, there's nothing like having your own hosted website, and that's where Domain.com comes in. Domain.com offers the very best in web hosting services, and with plans starting at just under $4 a month, it's super affordable as well. And now, because you guys are faithful followers of TeamBoydTV's Black and Blue podcast, you can get yourself a sweet combo deal if you go to TeamBoydTV.com and click the Domain.com button. Once you click the button, you get redirected to the Domain.com promo page, where you sign up and use the promo code DOMFREE. That's DOMFREE. You get yourself a free domain. That's a free website that you can use to build your audience with. And Domain.com web hosting is packed with bonus features too. Check this out. All web hosting plans come with $100 Google AdWords bonus, $50 Yahoo/Bing search marketing credit, $50 in Facebook advertisement, and free YellowPages.com listen. And get this, a free toll-free phone number if you live in the United States. And if you're like me and you know absolutely nothing about website design, Domain.com even has the awesomely easy drag-and-drop site builder to get you up and running right away. So what are you waiting for? There's no excuse not to get your online presence rolling right now. Remember, go to TeamBoydTV.com, click the Domain.com button, and use the promo code DOMFREE, that's DOMFREE, to get your free domain to use for your website right now. The Black and Blue Podcast. All right. Welcome back to the Black and Blue Podcast. I'm sitting here with one of my favorite Panther fans. You know what? Say what's up to everybody, PantherNasty. Say what up.
How you doing, Panther Nation? This is PantherNasty, also known as Bigg 26 on Twitter, Chocolate Wonderland.
Word. Hey, look, man. I think I got in contact with you through my homeboy Tony Dunn through the Carolina Cat Chronicles thing. I think they the ones who put me on to some of the stuff that you was doing.
Yeah, Anthony Dunn is cool, man. I wrote a couple of things. He helped me out with it. I love Cat Chronicles, man.
Yeah, they're my boys, man. You know, they put in a lot of work there. They be doing their thing. And my boy Joe. I met these dudes last season, and I was on their show a couple times, and they all about that writing stuff, and that really ain't my thing, but they do it though, and they do it well.
Hey, they do it. Every last one of them is cool. Mel Mayock, some funny guys. They're accessible. You can talk to them on Twitter, ask them questions, and they're engaging. Oh yeah, absolutely. Now look. One of the reasons why I wanted you on here, right? Because after we did the podcast last week, me and my homies, man, we was on here cutting up last week. But I noticed, I think it was a day later or 2 days later, you were on Twitter engaging. I don't even know who that was you was talking to on Twitter. But we was talking about some defensive stuff, and I was like, you know what? I want this guy on the podcast. You know what I mean? You overlook a lot of things. They did it last year, and we ended up 12-4, and it's the same thing this year.
Oh yeah, because I wanted to ask you, man, because you've seen the same thing I've seen. You've seen what people have been saying on Twitter, what they've been saying in their little videos on YouTube, man, and everybody is completely writing Carolina off, and I don't think they see what we see.
Because they look for names instead of scheme. And
right.
I'm a guy, I'm really into X's and O's, but mismatches are way more effective. And when you got to look at a scheme and look how a team is built before you could judge or say what a team is going to do, and everybody's looking at names over schemes right now.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. Now the first thing I wanted to get into this discussion with you about though is I had my boys on the show last week, man, and they clowned me because I was looking at the schedule, right, and I'm looking at the schedule, and everybody's saying, our schedule is rough this season, and I mean it gets rough in some little patches in there, but overall, in my own personal opinion, I think that this is the absolute best schedule that Cam has had since he came to Carolina. I want to get your thoughts on it.
Without a doubt, that's without a doubt. The schedule we had last year, people forget, was extremely hard. I mean, there was a couple of games like when we played San Fran, we had to go there, and they coming off a bye. Then the next week, they're playing the New England Patriots on a Monday night, and they coming off a bye. Our schedule last year with Arizona Rams and was extremely difficult, way harder than what it is right now. Oh yeah.
And I'm telling you, man. So they laughing at me, right? And and they thinking that I done lost my mind. And I'm just talking about the AFC North, which is my brother. He's a Ravens guy, and then you got the NFC North, which my boy Glass, he's from Chicago, and they telling me that these two divisions gonna run roughshod over Carolina. And I was like, look, one of the teams, and I called them out. I called out the Detroit Lions, and I said the Detroit Lions gonna get thumped by every team in the NFC South. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly right. They had an opportunity where, you got two really talented defensive tackles in Dominican Sue and Nick Fairley. They could have added D Ford, and that could have served that team so much better than a tight end.
Right.
And you in a division with Jay Cutler and those weapons he have, and Aaron Rodgers. I thought that was a big miss for them. But
yeah, I think so too. And the fact that Dominican Sue and Nick Fairley, they talking that crazy stuff about they're a little disgruntled right now. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit disgruntled. So I don't know how that's going to translate till they play, them looking for some money and whatnot and that kind of thing. And then I look at, the Chicago Bears, man, Jay Cutler. I don't remember the last time he played a full 16-game season. I cannot remember. Then we had the Minnesota Vikings. I think Adrian Peterson showed up at Bank of America Stadium last year and had about 63, 64 yards total. You know what I mean?
And he got a 30-something yard run when we had a whole defensive line as backups.
Right.
So
you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And, and the Detroit Lions, not the Detroit Lions, but the Green Bay Packers are the only ones that really, I feel like, I feel like they caught a bad break last season. But overall, though, the record speaks for itself. I mean, they finished where they finished, and I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I look at Detroit, and I know people act like Carolina has no offensive weapons, but what defense does Detroit have, and what protection would Pittsburgh help with as far as Ben Roethlisberger?
Right.
The Baltimore Ravens game, I can see that being kind of tough, but at the same time, it's Flacco, man.
Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I was reading this little story about, Smitty and how, he's fitting in really well there. And they were trying to decide how they wanted to use him and whatnot. Did they wanted to use him? The question was, were they going to use him more, like, they would get more production from him on the field or as a leader in the locker room? And, I don't know. I listened to what they had to say, but let me pose a question to you. What do you think about that?
We know who Smitty is. There was a time in his younger days where if you were to cover him the way they covered him last year, it looked like blown coverage. He would blow by the defender. Last year, most of his catches, and I'm a big-time Smitty fan.
Right.
The defender was right on his hip.
Oh, yeah.
So, Flacco's going to have to really be accurate. And I know Flacco, his thing is throwing the ball deep. We see how that work out.
Right.
They got Torrey Smith and then Jacob Ford.
Jacoby Ford, Jacoby Jones.
They got Pitt. I guess you put him at. I guess you put him at the slot.
Yeah. I feel like. He gonna come in there and he gonna do his whole, leadership, fire the guys up role. He gonna do that. That's who Smitty is, and dude gonna be playing with a chip on his shoulder and everything. But I do believe he is gonna have a really good. The only thing I'm upset about is that we could have used that same motivation and whatnot, with him here. And I think Smitty gonna prove Gettleman and a lot of people who wanted him to leave wrong.
Smitty, I can't, the words for a 5'9" receiver, the way he played, the way he attract and attack the ball at his highest point, his willingness to go across the middle, this speaks for itself. He's tough, he's tenacious, but I have to say, I think it was time. I think right now with Smitty and his first, if you walk up to Smitty and tell him, listen, we're going to go with a new guy, a younger guy, to be the number one, you are no longer the number one. What you just did, you just challenged them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, I don't know how that would have went over.
Oh yeah. It probably would have been ugly. You know what I mean? I don't completely disagree with the whole, letting Steve Smith walk and whatnot. I just, just like a lot of other people, so it left a bad taste in my mouth. I felt like it was handled kind of wrong, especially after the report came out later that, he was planning on retiring at the end of this season anyway. I don't know. I think the timing was bad. The way they handled it was wrong. And the dude still got some gas left in the tank. I don't know. You know what I mean?
We definitely handled it wrong. I think that's something Gettleman need to work on. It has been said he need to have a little more skill on his people skills. But I think I look at Benjamin. I look at how humble he is.
Oh yeah.
And how he came in. That's the only thing I was concerned with Benjamin was. Is he going to come in thinking he don't have to work on anything? His size going to get him by.
Right.
He did it. He came in really humble and willing to learn. And I don't know how that would have worked with Smitty. I hate to say it, man.
Right. And speaking of KB, man, I had a chance to meet him yesterday, right?
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was tweeting the picture and whatnot all over the Twitter, the Google Plus and whatnot. But yeah, I met the guy and we talked about a couple things while I had him. I only had about 5 or 10 minutes to really kind of pick his brain. He wasn't gonna really give me a whole lot in that setting that we were in. You know what I mean? But I asked him, how he felt about coming in and possibly being Steve Smith's replacement, man. And his response was just, I couldn't believe what was coming out of this young dude's mouth, man, because he was like, nobody can ever replace Steve Smith, and he don't feel like he's Steve Smith replacement. You know, he was going on like that, and I was like, wow, this dude right here is really, really humble. You know what I mean? He was cool, man. We chopped it up for about 10, 15 minutes. You know, and I couldn't believe like how eloquent he was. He really all about winning. Talked about Cam, him and Cam. You know, they homeboys now. You know, they've been chilling. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's good stuff.
I'm really shocked. I mean, I'm hear his willingness to learn how to beat the gym, and this how humble he is, man. It shocked me. I didn't expect that, and I felt like an overpowering personality, you know, in our locker room right now. I don't know how that would have fit. I really don't.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I completely agree. And I'm sitting here, you know, while I'm talking to this dude, right? I'm checking him out, right? You know, and I consider myself a pretty big dude, 6'4", 240, you know, so, you know, yeah, you know, and so and I'm standing next to this guy, you know, and I was going to dap him up, and I checked out the size of this dude's mitts, you know what I mean? And this dude, his hands are humongous, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. I'm just looking at this guy like, you know what, he gonna come in, and a lot of people were saying how they didn't think he was gonna be an immediate impact. I got a feeling he's gonna be an immediate impact. Yeah.
I think like Gettleman said, I think it was a lot of focus on what he can't do, and
right.
not enough on what he can do, and not just on his size. Just breaking down film on how he played against the zone, how smart he was playing against the zone, and his route differential, how varied his routes was, playing on the outside and playing slot. I think they downplayed the 6'5", 240-pound receiver a little way too much.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And you know, and I was just thinking about, you know, since we're talking about Carolina Panthers offense, man, I was thinking about a lot of people were talking about, especially on YouTube, talking about how there are no Carolina Panthers offensive weapons, and you know, and I said this plenty of times on this podcast. I was like, you know, we got you know, so many wide receivers right now. The question is, you know, who plays and who doesn't, how well are they, you know, going to mesh in this first year? Is everything going to work out the way they wanted to work? But looking at it on paper, the guys that we got, I think we're better than we were last year.
I know we're better. I look at it like this. Last year, towards the mid, when we lost our guards, our first, second string, left and right guard, I seen a strain in our run game where we just couldn't really get anything consistently on the ground. Mm-hmm. And that's just a tribute to Cam and how good Cam is, that he was willing and able to work in that kind of situation where the fell wasn't a factor at all in a lot of these games. Okay, when Smitty went down in that Saints game, where was the fell? Right. The next week versus Atlanta, where was the fell? You know? And I look at this situation with our guards back, because I think highly of Amini Silatula.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what Edmund Kabila brings to the table, but Trey Turner as our right guard. With Cam Newton and a mobile quarterback, when you got to have a linebacker or safety and a spy, it's going to open up a lot more in the running game, especially with our guards and our center, who is
absolutely. It's just amazing to me how people can just take that the events that happen in the offseason and automatically write Carolina off. I don't know. I'm looking at everything, and I admit, early in the offseason, I was a little dejected. I was like, oh my God, we had this 12-4 season, and now we're getting ready to go right back to 4-12 again. And then, things started happening. We started seeing people come in, and, then a draft was looming, and I think we had a stellar draft. It wasn't like an A+ draft, but it was strong, right?
I think draft was, going back to what you were talking at first, this 12-4 Carolina team didn't have the kind of offseason that people expected. Right. And because they didn't expect it, they just going to just downplay what was done. Truth is, as a scheme and as a team, philosophy-wise, we have gotten better all over the team. I think so, we don't see it by just looking at the names, but it's the truth. Going to the draft, Benjamin was just, the whole time I kept saying, how could you overlook the 6'5", 240 guy? I just couldn't see how. And getting Coney Elite number 2. Yeah. People, that's a bad choice because we already have Greg Hardy and Charles Johnson. Okay, that's how you feel, but how does it benefit the team? When you got this 4-man rush, and these guys is in the rotation in the third and fourth quarter, you know what kind of pressure is on your quarterback all game long? Absolutely. Added a first-round talent to a 60-sack team, and you overlooking that? Yeah, man. I don't think it was about getting rid of Greg Hardy. I was thinking they had a first-round grade on him. Like because our GM, Dave Gettleman and Ron Rivera are extremely honest, man. Way too honest. They had a first round grade on Coney Ealy, and they said, you know what? We're going to get him here. He said we could get a wide receiver. We're going to get him. And that's what they did. They did the same thing with K1 Short last year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And the key word is rotation. And that's the thing. You get to the halfway point or late in the season, when the weather gets a little chilly, the conditions get a little rough. You want to rotate them dudes to keep that pass rush consistent. And while other teams like your Seattles and your San Franciscos, they're relying on the same guys to play all game long.
Exactly.
I'm just, these guys are not paying this kind of stuff any attention. And, and that's why I like talking to people who understand football. You know what I mean? Instead of people just like to get on YouTube and just like flap their gums about nonsense, Right.
You got to know football to understand what Carolina's doing.
Right.
And going back to what you're saying, that rotation, when you got to lead and there's a minute and 7 seconds left on the clock and your defense is on the field, I could guarantee you Carolina still got a stellar pass rush. We don't have to rely on two guys the whole game-winning drive or whatever's going on to get to that quarterback. We have so many guys, and Mario Addison, Frank Alexander, when he get off, and he's a very versatile defensive end also. Our big boys and Charles Johnson and Greg Hardy. I don't know if Wes Horton will still be there. And DeJuan Edwards, Kawan Short, started to, and then you throw in Coney Ealy on top of that.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, man. I don't think these guys are prepared for what's getting ready to happen. And and this is another thing. Before we get into our first break, I want to ask you this. There's been a lot of speculation about how Carolina got to 12-4 last season, and a lot of things. Everybody keep on saying the same stuff. I hear Dolphins fans and Bucs fans saying, you guys don't have anybody to throw the ball to. Your run game is average. I look at the stats, right?
Right.
And and I got into this with somebody. I can't remember who it was right now, about how the Super Bowl champions won the Super Bowl on the strength of their defense. Now, Seattle wasn't putting up crazy amounts of points like they did the season before, right? And Carolina wasn't either. But you weren't getting over 15 points on Carolina either. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, I think they can, until these guys get ready. I think, first of all, Carolina can be explosive on offense this year. But straight up though, I think the defense is still gonna carry them though.
I seen a playoff game Seattle won last year where Russell Wilson had 103 yards passing.
Right. That's them Tim Tebow numbers. You know what I mean?
He just won a playoff game
where
he threw for 103 yards. Meanwhile, Detroit wasn't in the playoffs. All those weapons. Meanwhile, Giants wasn't in the playoffs.
That's
Meanwhile,
right.
Atlanta wasn't in the playoffs. Don't win chips with wide receivers. I keep telling people that. You keep talking about the wide receivers. You don't win. I look at Denver and all the wide receivers and all the records he broke. Who won the Super Bowl?
Right, straight up, and that's what it is. You bring Peyton Manning and all that offense and all them touchdowns and all them, the NFL records and whatnot, and they get completely destroyed, mollywopped in the Super Bowl by the Seattle defense.
And you still talking about wide receivers? I look at this Carolina team. 2011, we had 18 guys on IR. Okay,
right.
And lockout, Cam couldn't even talk to the coaches.
Right.
I don't know what these guys are able to do right now. And we had a lot of close games. We lost those games because of a new coach. He didn't know how to be aggressive. He'd get aggressive and he start, going and getting conservative. And a young team that didn't know how to win the close games and win through adversity.
Right.
2012, 18 guys on the IR, and this team at the end had really shown they could win some games.
Oh yeah.
A defense that was top 10. When all three of our division rivals' offense was top 10.
Yes.
Okay, Saints was like number 2, Falcons was number 5, and the Bucs was number 9. And we still had a top 10 defense with our defensive ends with double-digit sacks. Point I'm making is 2013 Carolina was no fluke.
That's right. I don't think so either. And it goes back to what you said before. It's all in the scheme, man. And, and those guys knew how to use what they had. And, as much as everybody is talking about who we lost, right? And then I think I went through the whole motions of breaking it down of the guys that we lost. Aside from like maybe Captain Munderland, I wasn't really, and Steve Smith, obviously, I wasn't really tripping about the wide receivers. I really wasn't.
We didn't lose anything in the wide receivers.
Right.
LaFell, to me, my own personal opinion, I've never been a fan of LaFell. What did he bring? He was 6'2", 218. He wasn't a red zone threat.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped all his passes. He had 8-inch hands. I mean, his games, he disappeared. I mean, last year, when Steve Smith was out, he's in his contract year. I mean, it's more than that, but we're playing against Atlanta. He had no catches.
Right. We
got a new GM. Why would you want to bring him back?
Right. Yeah. And that's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And then and I voiced my opinion on Mr. Ted Ginn Jr. And I guess he had to make a business decision, whatever it was. I think he had potential, and and I was starting to become a fan. But then at the end of the season, I looked at his performance, and and I think he did have his best year as a pro in Carolina. But and maybe we taught him how to be a wide receiver. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I wasn't really too overly concerned. I was more concerned about how they were going to replace these guys and who they're going to replace them with. And then, once I saw the names that came in, I was like, okay, these guys are not like super flashy guys and nothing like that, but these guys are tested guys. You can rely on these dudes. You know what I mean?
Ginn dropped a lot of bombs last year, and no one talks about that. He dropped a lot of perfectly thrown balls, and while he was behind the defense. I don't know. We might miss him on a return game. It's not like he had a bunch of touchdowns last year. We might miss him on a return game because it was smooth. He didn't muffle out a punch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As far as the receivers go, I look at guys like Kashri and Avant, which our coach said we brought these guys in to help with the young guys.
Right. Mm-hmm.
At hands, they're not going to get you yak. They're not going to burn you deep. But they know how to play against zone, and they're going to catch the ball.
That's right.
We have no idea what Tavares King is. I know everybody laughs when you say Tavares King and Mama Big Nut.
Yeah.
And Underwood, and it's a big joke. Oh, these guys. How do you know how good or bad Tavares King was? A rookie last year.
Right.
Broncos wanted to keep him. They had him on a 53 and just couldn't.
Right.
So they stacked that receiver. They didn't want to put him at practice squad because they knew Green Bay was going to snatch him.
Mm-hmm.
They just meant we got him.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I think we're going to be absolutely fine on offense. I think, checking out your boy, Jonathan Stewart, talking about how he was happy to be in OTAs and minicamp for the first time in a long time. We still got D. Will, the bowling ball, Mike Tolbert. Them dudes are ready to go. And I think Cam, he's reportedly a little bit ahead of schedule on his recovery. He out there, still trying to do what he can. It's looking good. I think.
It's looking, to me, I'm extremely excited. I can't wait to see how training camp plays out and who get this number 2 and 3 spot on the wide receiver thing. I don't miss Ginn as a receiver, as a return man. I think Underwood, I don't know what he's going to do, if he could step up, but I think he could be that guy. He got a 4.31 speed.
Yeah.
I look at what, and that's another thing that people overlook, man. Cam and what he bring and how he affect a team.
That's right.
They talk about you didn't pick up Hakeem Nixon. I'm not even 100% sure that would have been best for the team. To be honest,
I don't think so either. I mean, I really believe that the things that they ended up ultimately doing, the decisions that they made, I think we'll be looking at the end of the season saying, hey, you know what, that was pretty much the right way to go. I mean, I don't know, Hickson, I didn't really see him. He hadn't really been really super effective since, what was that, 2011 when the Giants went to the Super Bowl? I think that was the last time he had, a good season.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy, man. He had 7 catches for us last year.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you hear these guys on YouTube, everybody talk, their team is perfect. There's nothing good about our team, and there's nothing bad about their team.
Right.
This is how those guys talk. But when Sunday come, these guys are gonna be upset.
Absolutely.
Right now, they're gonna be upset, man.
The boys are back. The dopest live NFL show on YouTube returns for season 2 of TeamBoydTV Live, featuring an all-star cast from TeamBoydTV, starring JB, Class from Get With It Sports, and your host, Big Q, bringing you their flavor of that real barbershop-style NFL talk with a little comedy flair. It's TeamBoydTV Live, premiering live Wednesday, July 9th at 7:30 p.m. See youtube.com/TeamBoydTV Turbo or www.teamboydtv.com for details. You can hear the Black and Blue podcast on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand. Download the free app today. Listen anytime, anywhere. Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover from 20,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows. Create custom playlists of over 20,000 shows to discover. Rate and review the Black and Blue podcast on Stitcher. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad. There's also in over 4 million car dashboards, on demand and on the go. No downloading, no syncing, no wasted memory. Stream your favorite podcast. Don't have Stitcher? Download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store. The Black and Blue podcast. So look, let's look on the other side of the football. Let's look on the other side of the football. We touched on it a little bit, man. And this is what it really comes down to. Can these dudes, come close or, replicate or even surpass the performance that they put on last season? Your thoughts, sir?
Easy. I'm a fan of Captain Motherland, but let's be honest, man. He was 5'8". He wasn't no shutdown corner. He lacked closing speed. He lacked recovery speed. He's not like Smitty, where Smitty got that 40-inch vertical.
Right.
He didn't have that. And we always, when you got a 5'8" corner in today's football, you always got to be conscious of him playing on the outside or playing against a big receiver because he just don't have the size. He's not small. He's short. But he's not a skinny guy. I'm telling you, and when you get past him not being a shutdown corner and Mike Mitchell, who I love, it's not Ed Reed.
Right.
You can't just disregard what that front seven did. You got to look at it. I mean, before Charles Garfield got hurt, he was splitting. Mike Mitchell was splitting with Quentin Michael.
Right.
Okay, he was splitting. It wasn't like this guy was. I'm not trying to downplay what he done because they played well. But I look at it like this. We got Roman Harper. Quentin Michael last year was a guy where he tackled well, right? In coverages, he lacked. So what we did was we had Robert Lester in passing situations, and he'll be in early downs, first and second down against the run. We're going to do the same thing with Roman Harper, but this guy will crack you.
Oh, yes.
This guy is good at blitzing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And Robert Lester is no longer an undrafted free agent rookie.
Right.
I think we got better strong safety. As far as free safety go, Thomas Deku had a Pro Bowl year 2012, 2013. He struggled. Why? No one talks about why. I can tell you why. They changed their scheme. They did. They got more aggressive in their blitzing. They brought Thomas Deku, who's not this kind of safety, closer to the line of scrimmage and had him cover slot receivers and tight ends.
Right.
Mad at him because he couldn't shut down Jimmy Graham. If that makes sense to you, cool. He's in Carolina. He's going to play more zone.
Right.
6'2", and he's a good zone safety. Experience. You're not going to trick him. He has years playing against Drew Brees. He has years practicing against Matt Ryan. The same thing go for Harper. I don't know how they could look at that and not see the asset in that.
That is, it is funny because those are the guys, those are the ones who are really talking that crazy talk. It's Atlanta, not so much. It's New Orleans for the most part. I've seen in the past couple of days, New Orleans done woke up from their slumber. They're starting to come out a little bit more, and they're starting to say their piece. But the thing is, you're absolutely right. I 100% agree. I believe that experience from these guys playing in the same division against those same dudes, when they practice against them every day. We only got a chance to get a crack at them twice a year. These dudes play against them every day. Practice against them every day.
And look at the scheme. I mean, the Saints changed their philosophy. They got a new strong safety. Rob Ryan coming here. His first year, Okay, no one had no film of what the Saints was going to do. It's aggressive the way they want to play. They want to have Kenny Vaccaro play and cover. You're not going to get that out of Roman Harper. Doesn't mean he's not serviceable. He just didn't fit their scheme.
Right.
You bring him in Carolina, and both these guys fit the scheme.
Yes, they do.
Bullhawks got size.
Yeah.
Fit the scheme.
Oh yeah, and I like
66.
And I like the experiences they bring because I said it last week. I think we got exploited a little bit in the secondary, especially by people like Drew Brees and Tom Brady to a certain extent with the young guys that we had back there. But now they kind of mixed it up a little bit. We got a little experience back there. I don't think they're going to be able to really run them same old kind of games on these guys. So these guys been around the block a few times, and it always come back though. It always come back to those guys playing up front. You know what I mean? Because I think they are just the most elite squad in the league right now. I think they will give the Seattle guys a run for their money any day. Any day.
And they did. And I mean, it's the depth that people overlook. That first game against Drew Brees, Quentin Michael and Mike Mitchell never had experience in playing against them. Mm-hmm. That first game, he was just looking them off and completing the little slants and easy passes.
Right.
Second time we played them. And this is what people don't want to talk about. And I'm going to make a YouTube video on these Saints when they heat up a little more.
Right.
But we shut them down.
Right.
Without Steve Smith. We keep talking about our receivers. We beat you without Steve Smith. We didn't run the ball and keep your offense off the field. Your offense was on the field.
That's
Our
right.
linebackers had 20-something tackles. We shut you down. You lost throws. You lost your depth. You bring in a wide receiver that's 5'9", 180, and that's supposed to help everything. You'll find out. But that defense is serious.
You know what? They showed me last year because I had people like my homeboy the Voice 2525 around this time last season, man, right around the same amount of time, he was on YouTube and he was trying to tell people the Carolina defense was going to show somebody something that they ain't never seen before, and everybody thought he was crazy. You know what I mean? They laughed at the man.
Hey man, Melvin White was our starter last year. He's 6'1" and 3/4. He's close to 6'2". He was an undrafted free agent rookie. He's no longer a rookie. Let's see how that work out. You got Charles Godfrey, a guy in a pinch. If someone get hurt, he could be that starting free safety, or he could be a nickel corner. Mm-hmm. What is expected from a nickel corner? You have to be able to tackle. You have to be able to dissect and get to the running back when they do running plays. It's not just be fast and cover. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We got Antoine Cason, a former first-round pick who worked with Steve Wilkes, our secondary coach, Aaron Rivera in San Diego.
Right.
He has the same skill set as Captain Motherland. He's just taller.
Right.
Same thing. Physical and a real smart player. And that's Carolina's theme. That's our philosophy.
That's the way it rolls, you know what I mean?
A smart physical secondary. When you look at it, ball hawking, smart physical secondary.
Mm-hmm. Now check this out. What's his face? Oh man, his name was tip of my tongue. The guy who used to play with Ron Rivera on the '85 Bears team. The ESPN guy. What's his name? I don't know why it escaped me right now.
Mike Dicker.
Yeah, Mike Dicker. Yeah, you saw the report of what he had said in the interview about how he believed that Ron Rivera was going to lead the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl here. Did you see the story?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I got on the podcast the day that I read it, and I was saying how I believe the same thing, and I really believe that it's going to happen in the next 2 seasons. Right now, let me get your take on what Mike Dicker had said.
I think he's absolutely right. I think when you look at how this team is built and what wins in the NFL, I think it can happen in either this year or next year.
Oh yeah.
I think this 2014 Carolina team is going to be extremely strong.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be nowhere near as good as the 2015 Carolina team.
Right.
I honestly feel that way, and I'm the type of dude. I'm real honest about my team. If I don't feel they're going to do it, I come out and say what we need to work on. I just think people overlooking a lot with this team, just like they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
team has proven. I mean, look at teams one-hit wonders. I think Kansas City Chiefs is a one-hit wonder.
Yep.
Look at one-hit wonder teams. Let's use Bucks 2010, right? When they won 10 games. They had Super Bowls with the bad teams. They had real close games with the bad teams. When they played against the good teams, they got murdered.
Yeah.
There was no contest.
Right.
You almost just say the same thing with the Redskins. When they won. That is not the case with this Carolina team.
Right. Yeah, because I feel like the talent is there. It's on all. Well, I haven't really got a chance to look at what's going on special teams, but I know on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, the talent is there. It's like the potential and the talent is there. It's just a matter of execution, you know. And I believe Cam has the will to want to get it done. You know, I think he won a Super Bowl early in his career. You know, I feel like he is upset with himself that they ain't got there yet. You know what I mean?
He impressed me every year, man. I mean, 2012, everybody blamed it on his sophomore slump. I looked at it as Chudzinski changed the scheme. We went from a two tight end pro style offense under the center in 2011, and he went to basically making the read option a base offense.
Right.
The way we draft, where the Minnesota Tula pick in October, that wasn't what Marty Herney expected, and they ended up getting him fired.
Yes.
You can't run that kind of offense as the base in the NFL. You can throw it as a little wrinkle here and there, but it can't be your base. And they all expressed that after Chudzinski left.
Sure enough. And I mean, because once you people realize that's what you're running every play out of that same formation, it ain't gonna last long. It ain't gonna last long at all.
Not with these smart defensive coordinators. Not with these smart, talented, fast defensive players. It's not gonna last. Not as a base.
Right.
And just looking at Cam, how he matured, and I mean, games like the Buffalo Bills game, where they stacked the box, there was one-on-one offsides with the wide receivers, and none of us, Mitty or LaFell, couldn't get open. How he handled that?
Oh yeah.
Arizona game, I mean, he was picking them apart.
Yes, he was.
Up in the ball. The San Fran game, I mean, I was really curious because Chandler's moving to right guard. That was his first game actually starting versus San Fran in San Fran. He gave up 3 sacks and a whole lot of hurries and hits. And Cam was really picking them apart, man. The receiver just couldn't get open and drop in the ball.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. I'm really excited to see exactly. Oh, good. I thought I had turned this thing off, but I'm excited to see what's gonna transpire when this thing get ready to kick off. And I know one thing. Cam, he didn't came into his own. I think he didn't had enough seasons to kind of showcase what he can do. I mean, we all expected to see the rookie Cam come out and do what the rookie Cam did. We kind of saw that coming. You know what I mean? And then what happened after that? Them trying to force him to be something that he's not. And then he comes back. With a combination of what he learned in his sophomore season, and combined with the naturally gifted talent that he was given to do what he did in his rookie season. I think last season Cam showed that he can do it all.
He could definitely do it all, and that's if he just the only flaw he has is his footwork. Every now and then it gets a little sloppy and it causes passes to go too high. That's the only. There's sometimes you watch Cam and he's so accurate, and he accurate deep. I look and be like, who's better?
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at him and then he misses a throw and they're okay. But sometimes you look at him and I'm just impressed. And I'm looking at this Greg Olsen, and Dixon, and Brandon Williams as the 2 tight ends offense we're going to run, like how we did his rookie year. Yeah. And what a 2 tight offense actually means. How it make mismatches and how it cause problems. And I think that's another thing people are overlooking.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They overlooking a lot. And I'm gonna tell you, when I go back to looking at this schedule again, and I see the Green Bays and I see the Cincinnatis, and I see the Pittsburgh Steelers on that schedule, man, I actually get excited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like Detroit, the thing about Stafford is he has a lot of yards, but let's look at his quarterback rating, look at his interceptions. I like to see how he handled that kind of pressure.
Right.
You know, get hit and see how he respond. You know, the team is not good. I mean, it's not no team where we should be afraid of. And the same thing I say for the Bucks. Pittsburgh, the same thing. Ben Roethlisberger is legitimate. That's a real guy. But they still, to me, they're still on the decline. They still losing players, and they're just not that same Pittsburgh team of old. And the Bengals is a tough team, extremely talented. But Andy Dalton, I mean, if you could get to him, you know, he no longer have his offensive coordinator. He no longer have his defensive coordinator.
Nope. New coaches.
Yeah, and Green Bay, I mean, it seems like Green Bay struggles with physical teams.
Yeah.
You know, San Fran just give them that work every single time they play. I think them playing Carolina, I mean, it doesn't matter who your receivers are when your defense is built around pressuring a quarterback. We're not trying to pressure your wide receivers. Like Atlanta is built to pressure your wide receivers. We're not built to pressure your wide receivers. We built to pressure your quarterback. It don't matter who your wide receivers are. That's real.
So I had one guy, you know, come at me and say, you know, you talking all this crazy talk about the schedule, but, you know, you guys are facing like the most elite running backs in the NFL this season, you know, in Reggie Bush and, you know, Eddie Lacy, Adrian Peterson, you know, these guys, right? And they wanted to know how we were going to be able to handle that kind of thing. You know, and I brought up the whole Adrian Peterson thing, you know, and I'm just saying, like, I feel like, you know, people like Luke Kuechly, whose name is like not really being mentioned that much this offseason. Everybody talking about other stuff. They're not really talking about Luke Kuechly. I look at these running backs, man, and I'm not going to take anything from them. I think all of them are great. But I don't know. The Carolina defense is something special, though, you know?
We was number 2 in rushing yards last year. We played against the Rams and they run it back. We played against Lamar, the Dolphins, and they run it back. We played against running backs last year. We played against running teams. Last year, we played against Frank Gore. We shut down Marshawn Lynch to 40-something yards rushing. The problem isn't what we're going to do. The problem is, what are you going to do? Can you run on the Carolina Panthers? We're not the Bucks that's 15th against the run. We're not the Saints that's 19th versus the run. We're not Atlanta that's 31st against the run. We are the Panthers that are number 2 versus the run and got deep.
Wow.
And, you know.
Yeah. I just saw this thing on NFL the NFL app on my phone. That's what made that noise right there. It said that San Francisco 49ers Eric Wright is retiring at age 28. You know, the first thing when I saw the headline, the first thing that popped into my mind was, ain't he the guy who got trucked by Mike Tolbert last season? Or was it Eric Reed? No, that was Eric Reed, was it?
It was Reed.
Okay, that was Reed. Okay, all right. You know, it's like, wait a minute. You know? It's like, I don't know. It's like that really, you know, Mike Tolbert made this dude retire. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's off topic. But I happened to see that.
I'm surprised Eric Reed isn't retiring. He should be the next one to go after that.
I know, right?
He got trucked. I would retire.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Since we're talking about Mike Tolbert, that's a good thing because you know he's another guy who people don't really want to bring his name up. You know, he was one of them guys who I talked about on the podcast one time where he was languishing and wasting away in San Diego. And he comes to Carolina and his career gets resurrected, sort of, kind of. I think he is a really big part of the Carolina Panthers offense. Him and Cam, man. I think they got more touchdowns than anybody else on the team, I think.
I would like him being featured more. I hate to say it. I think I would like an offense where he's our number 1 halfback.
Right.
Rocco or something might be our starting fullback. And we have a change of pace thing in Barner, or you know, you have Gaffney as what's it called. I would like a situation where we're not paying so much to the running backs. He brings a lot to the table.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
His catching ability, his route running, and how hard he runs. When you don't have a big name, people don't pay attention.
That's right.
Falcons signed Steven Jackson, but they didn't have any interior linemen. But because they signed Steven Jackson, this team was going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
The Bucks signed Revis and Deshaun Golson. They didn't improve their pass rush.
Right.
But because they signed Revis and Golson, here we have no fly zone. They only pay attention to the big names. When you look at guys like Tolbert, who was a Pro Bowler last year, first team fullback, just overlook that, man.
Yeah, man. Tolbert is a monster, man. And I'm telling you, like I said, you get in the red zone, and this year, now you got a three-headed monster in the red zone. You got Cam, you got Tolbert, and now you got Benjamin. I got a feeling, you get Carolina in that red zone, man, they're going to destroy people in that red zone. I just got a feeling that's what's going to happen.
If you talk about the Buccaneers and they hype, I look at Carolina and two tight end offense. I look at 6'5" Greg Olsen, 6'4" Ed Dixon, or maybe 6'4" Brandon Williams, a 6'5" wide receiver on the outside. That's three guys that's tall.
Yeah.
And there's no telling who's going to be our number two. It could be Cotchery, and it could be. When I look at Carolina, they remind me a lot of that Giant team that won the Super Bowl. That's
right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They really do. Benjamin remind me of Plaxico. Cotchery, if he's number two, remind me of Ike Hilliard.
Yeah.
They had Boss, they had Kevin Boss and Shockey on the team. Their secondary wasn't much of anything.
Right.
That front seven, that front four.
Oh yeah.
Their linebackers really wasn't all that neither. That front four was just serious. They have more weapons in the wide receivers, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's real similar, man.
Yeah, Carolina, now that you bring it up, Carolina does mirror that team. It really does. And I don't know, the longer we go into this conversation, the more excited I get about this thing because, we, looked at some stuff that, a lot of people really ain't talking about. Hopefully just get the conversation going. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, right? I look at a lot of stuff on the internet. And I hear what a lot of people are saying, and I know for the most part it's just smack talk, and you kind of gotta rep your team, you know what I mean? But a lot of times it just is this borderline foolishness, man. You know what I mean? And and I get a little upset about it. You know what I mean?
It's you know what it is. The thing is, you're talking about a team you don't know.
Right.
They don't know our team. They never took the time out to really analyze and look at our team. Even our division rivals really don't know Carolina at all.
Yeah.
But they all have these strong opinions, but they don't know our team.
That's absolutely correct.
That's the thing that get us mad. And the sad thing is, so does the media.
Yeah.
Media don't know our team either.
Oh yeah, because they have officially written Carolina off, and and it's cool. I think I like it that way. Because just like last season, we halfway in, and Carolina is, I don't know what was their record, 8-2 or something like that, and people still were saying, "Oh, is Carolina for real? Is Carolina for real? Really?"
You know what? That just I like it. It makes us more dangerous because now that makes the job easier for Rivera because he can still say we still not relevant. These guys are still picking Bucks and Saints in Atlanta to win the division. Yeah. You guys still haven't proven yourself to these guys, and that just makes them all hungry.
That's right, man. Yeah. I think it's going to be exciting. Hey, listen, I want to thank you, man, for coming through and chopping up a little Panthers football with me, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you having me, man. I really do. I love talking Carolina Panther football.
And I'm trying to, I've been experienced a little bit of success with this Black and Blue podcast, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun, and it's giving me a chance to kind of really get to know who we got out there in Panther Nation representing. You one of the ones, people like The Voice, my boys, Carolina Cat Chronicles, man, a couple other ones, T-Money. You guys are, y'all keeping the flame lit. You know what I mean?
And this team is proving us right, and this team is going to continue to prove us right, man. Really.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, man, again, I want to thank you for coming through, and I will catch you on the flip side, man.
Hey, thanks, and God bless you, man, and have a good day, man. And
all right, you too. All right, peace. What up, football fans? You want to stay up on the latest of TeamBoydTV happenings? Like us on our Facebook page at TeamBoydTV on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter at TeamBoydTV and at VernieB73. You can also check out our YouTube page at TeamBoydTV Turbo, where there's live events, videos, among other things. You can also keep up with the latest happenings, live chats, question and answer sessions on Google Plus at TeamBoydTV. Thank you once again for watching TeamBoydTV.
Yo, JB from TeamBoydTV, co-host of TeamBoydTV Live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be discussing updates, breakdowns, and just about everything NFL. Hosted by yours truly, Big Q, co-hosted by me, JB, and my boy Glass from Get With It Sports. If for some reason you missed the show, still haven't had your fill, visit TeamBoydTV.com.
The Black and Blue Podcast. Once again, I want to thank my guest, Chocolate Wonderland, a.k.a. PantherNasty, for coming through and blessing the Black and Blue Podcast. I told you guys he was going to come through and leave some eye-opening stuff for you kind of Carolina Panther haters. Hey, listen, y'all keep doubting. The Panthers will keep winning. Hey, I want to give a shout-out to all the past guests I've had over the past month, man. I want to give a shout-out to Carolina Cat Chronicles, The Voice 2525, the JB, Glass from Gateway to Sports. Thank you guys for coming through and showing me some love on the Black and Blue Podcast. Next week, I have a simulcast live YouTube stream video podcast along with the audio podcast. We'll be doing that live next week, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And that kind of thing. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter at TeamBoydTV. I'm your boy Big Q. This is the Black and Blue Podcast. I will see you guys next week. Peace. The Black and Blue Podcast.